Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this shoulder bag with a flap over the top. Now I've got some yarn stuffed in here just to show you what the bag is. I've ordered bigger spring toggles off of Amazon. These have got a little spring in them, and the one I've ordered's got 2 holes, so that I just need to put one cord through each hole and pull it, and it'll keep my little shoulder bag closed. So I'm going to show you how to do this with a flap and with a strap around the top. And I'll give you a quick tip how to turn this into a backpack as well with your strap. If you make a long strap and you sew one end down here and the other end over to this side, I'll take this over. If you sew one end of your strap down here and the other end here, and the middle, you'll pull the middle up, and if you sew the middle to the top, and let's just say that's sewed down the bottom, and that's how you can turn it into a little backpack. Just make your strap, sew it down here, and then attach it at the middle, and that'll make a backpack. So I'm going to show you how to make this one. It's very similar to the other bag I made, but it's got a front flap. I just need some little magnets to hold it closed over the top, and with a shoulder strap. And you've got this really brilliant little drawstring bag, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, the video on how to do the bottom and the body is the same way as the other bag. So I'm going to use that video for that, and then I'll show you how to do the flap and the straps as well. So the video for the base and the side is a different yarn, but it's still the same technique. These are great for absolutely anything. So I'm going to show you how to do the base and then the body, and then this one will take over and we'll show you how to do the flap over the top and how to make a strap and attach it either as this, or like I said, you can put the ends of your strap down the bottom and put the middle here and turn it into a backpack. So I'm going to show you how to do this really easy bag. So the base will depend on how wide you want your circle to be. I'm going to do a magic circle. You can do a chain of 3 and then join it into a little circle and work into it. But I think the magic circle is better because it makes the centre of your circle nice and tight. So put your yarn over your hand and then just cross it over like this. Just cross your yarn over and pull the yarn through into a loop, and then just hold it there and do 1 stitch. And this is your magic loop. So we're going to do 2 more stitches, 1 and 2, and that makes a chain of 3. Now into this loop I'm going to put another 11 UK treble crochets, so that'll be 11 USA double crochets if you're in another country, and that chain there will make number 12. So that's my first stitch there. I'm going to put 11 more in. So yarn over and into your magic circle. So that'll count as 2 stitches. Your chain's 1, that's 2. 3, 4. We'll do this until we have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 11. 1 more makes 12. So I'm going to get my tail end and I'm going to pull it tight, and that is going to close your circle off. So into this chain of 3 into the top I'm going to do a slip stitch. Push your hook through, pull through and slip. So we've got 12 stitches. What we're going to do for the next round, we're going to put 2 stitches into each one. We're going to double up this increase. So chain 1, 2 and 3. Now into the same stitch where your chain is, put one more stitch. So that's 2. So into the next stitch you're going to put 2. Put 2 into each stitch all the way around, and you should have 24 stitches. 2 into the next one, all the way around. So I've got 2 stitches left and I've got 20 all the way around. So this one is 21. Put 2 into there. That's 22. And into my last stitch, I'll put 2 more, and that should make me 24 stitches. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain. Pull through and slip my stitch. So that's round 2. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now that's going to count as my first stitch. Into the next stitch I'm going to put 2. We'll do our increase. So that's 1 and 2. Into the next stitch we're going to put 1. And then we'll do an increase in the next stitch. Put 2 into the next stitch. We're going to do that all the way around. So we'll have 1 stitch and then 2. 1 stitch, then 2. So I'm at my last stitch here and I should finish on a 2. I started with a 1. So I've got 1 in that stitch and I should finish with 2 in this stitch. 1 and 2. And I should have 36. We should increase by 12 each round into that chain. So this round we've got 36. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and that's my first stitch. Into the next stitch we're going to put 1. So now we're going to put 2 stitches in between our increase. So I've got 1 and 2, and then do an increase. Put 2 into the next stitch. 1 and 2. 1 into the next stitch. And 1 into the next stitch. So we now have 2 stitches in between our increase. Increase in the next stitch. So the third one will have 2. So we'll be increasing every third stitch. In the next row you'll increase every fourth stitch, and so on until your circle is as big as you need it to be for your bag. So my next stitch is 1 into there. That's 1. 1 into the second stitch and 2 into the third stitch. We're increasing every third stitch. So I've got 3 stitches left. So I've done 2, my increase in this one. So 1 into the next one. 1 into the next one. And 2 into my last stitch. 1 and 2. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my chain of 3. So for this next round we're going to increase on every fourth stitch. Every fourth stitch. If you want to make your base bigger, then you'll increase on every fifth stitch, then every sixth stitch, until your circle is big as you want the bottom of your bag to be. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2. So that's 1 stitch there. 1 into the next stitch. That's 2. 1 into the third stitch. That's 3. and then increase in the 4th stitch. 1 and 2 into that 4th stitch. So on that round we increased on the 3rd stitch. So the way to get a nice flat one is start with 12 and double each one up into 24. Then we'll increase on every 2nd stitch. The next row is increase on every 3rd stitch. The next one increase on every 4th stitch, and so on until it's as big as you need it. So I'll put 1 into the next stitch, that's 1. 1 into the next one, that's 2. 1 into this 3rd stitch, and then 2 into the 4th stitch. 1 and 2 into the same stitch. And we'll do that all the way around. So I'll finish that round where I increased on every 4th stitch. Now if you want to, you can make your bag bigger. You'll increase the next round on every 5th stitch. The next one will be every 6th stitch, and then increase on every 7th stitch, and so on until the base of your bag, your circle, is as big as you want it for the bag size that you're making. So I'm going to chain 3. I've got 1 there, 1, 2 and 3. Now we're going to go around the post stitches, around this long part of the stitch. In the UK this is called a front post stitch because you're taking your hook around the front of the stitch. So yarn over and in the space and go around and through the other side of the space. Pull your yarn through and finish your stitch. Yarn over and through the space in between the stitches. You're going in the spaces between the stitches, in and around, and pull your yarn through. If you're using a thick yarn, give it a little pull to keep your stitches all the same height. Do that all the way around. In the UK this is called a front post treble crochet, and if you're in the USA it'll be a front post double crochet. You're going around the front of the stitch, one around each one. So I've put one around each of the posts on this, and as you can see, look what it looks like. It's made the side go up like this, and you still keep a nice flat bottom. So I'm going to go through my chain of 3 and slip stitch. I'm trying to catch 2 pieces of yarn when I go through here to keep it all stable, and slip stitch. Now all you're going to do is make the bag as tall as you want it to be. It's up to you how many rows you do. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now just put 1 UK treble crochet, or that's a USA double crochet, into each stitch through the top of your stitches, just as normal. Now once you've done a few of these bags, you'll be able to change the stitch pattern to whatever you want. You can use double crochets, you can use half double crochets, half treble crochets, whatever stitches you want to make your bag more dense. So you'll do 1 into each stitch, slip stitch to your top of your chain, chain 3 and 1 into each stitch until your bag is as tall as you want it to be. So using those instructions that you've just seen, I've got my bag. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows on my bag. You can make these bags any size you want. Now this one's quite a sort of large one, but I'm going to make that flap over on this one. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I done 22 rows on my bag. Now what I'm going to do now is I've got the seam in the middle and I'm going to make the flap. So I'm going to turn my bag around and I'm going to put the flap on. Just get it nice and straight. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about 4 inches either side, because the front of the bag I'll have a drawstring on it. So to make the flap go over the front of the bag, you might need to adjust how much you do this with yours. Where is the end of mine? So I'm going to go from that point in my seam, I'm going to go over 4 inches. And I'm going to put my hook in there. Now I'll count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and to the seam is 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count. So from that seam to there it's 14. That one makes 15. So I'm going to go 14 that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I'll put a pin in there, and that's how big I'm going to make the flap for my bag. I'm going to attach my yarn again, and I'm going to work back and forward and make that square flap. And I'm going to use a UK double crochet, and if you're in the USA that's a single crochet for you. Just wrap my tail end around, make sure you've got a long enough tail to stitch in. I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to put 1 double crochet all the way along. I'm using a smaller stitch for the flat part of the bag. You can use the same stitch if you want, but I'm going to use a double crochet. That's a single crochet if you're in the USA, to make that square bib part. Now I'm going to take my pin out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my toggle and my cord. So what I've got is I've got 2 pieces of cord and I've got a couple of little toggles. Now I recycled these off a jacket that I was putting in the bin. Now I'm going to put 1 piece of the cord from, this is where my flap's going to be. This section is my flap, and I'm going to take 1 piece of cord and bring it around to the front, and I'm going to take the second piece and go from this side of my flap around to the front. And the way you'll do that is you're just going to go in and out your stitches at the top of your bag. Now I'm going to sew the end in. You can either tie the end in like this, or you can sew it. I'm going to take a pin. Now you don't need to use cord, you can make a twisted piece or a plaited piece of your yarn. So I've just tied that there, it will be fine tied in. And I'm going to go in and out my stitches, around to the front, around to the front of my bag, and this is going to be my drawstring. put your seam here to the middle of your bag, and I'm just going to go in and out to get this to the front. Now that is going to be my flap over, and I'm going to make sure that this is at the front. One more. Take my pin out and do the other one. Where's my other one? And I'm going to do the same with the other one. I'll just go that way with it. So this time I'm going to go into the next stitch, leave one stitch there and work my way around. Doesn't matter which way you do this, as long as you go over and under that stitch, over, under, over and under, weave it around. There we are. I'm going to take my pin off and again I'm just going to tie that on, that last stitch. This is quite good cord, and it just, no, I'll tie it securely in. Just straighten that out. Now what I'm going to do is put a knot here. My toggles are not big enough for both of these, but you can just put a knot in like that, and that lets you draw string in your bag. Now you can put a bigger toggle on to hold that. You can make these shorter as well. So that gives you a rough idea of how my flap is going to come across. So I'll get myself a bigger toggle. I'm going to find a bigger toggle. These ones are just a little bit too small for two of the cords, but I did recycle these out of a jacket. So I'll pop that back in, make sure it just goes around that stitch. You can put a little stitch in there just to hold it. So I'm going to work on the back, on that flap, and that way, because I've got the cord in, just temporary just now, because I've got the cord in, I know how big to make my flap over. So I'm going to chain one and turn my work around, and I'm going to work back that way into the first stitch, and I'm going to make that square flap. When I get to the end, I'll chain one and turn and come back the other way until I've got my square made. So I've done the flap over part of this bag. Now I'm getting a bit of curl because I used UK double crochets. That's single crochets if you're in the USA. Now I just judged it with mine to make sure that it was the size, down to the size that I wanted it. I'm not finished with this. I don't want it curling like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges with a couple of rows of stitches. So I'm just going to push my hook through and get the end of my yarn, and I'm going to work a couple of rows of double crochet just to make this nice and square, and so the edges don't curl up. So one into each space. When I get to the corner, I'm going to put one stitch, one chain and one stitch, and then work around the corner. Now for my last stitch, I'm just going to slip stitch down there and turn, and then into my next stitch along and do one more row all the way back and that'll neaten up the edges of this flap. So I've got all the way around, and I'm going to cut my yarn and pull it through my loop. I'm going to tie my two ends together. Get my darning needle and sew in these ends. I'll just put the two through at the same time. And I'll just go in here and just sew these ends in. Just a couple of stitches just to hold the ends in. And that's me got my flap over, and that second round's flattened out that corner immensely. Now you can put a couple of buttons on there, or just a couple of magnetic clips, and that'll hold that down, but you don't need to. So that's the bottom done, and the bag body's done, and I've done the flap. Now what I'll do is, if you're using a different yarn, a different maybe like chunky yarn, you won't need as much. I've done the bag body to 10 inches. The circle is 8 inches, around 8.5, 9 inches. I would go with 9. So I'm just going to do a chain. I'm going to do about 2 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That looks about wide enough. We'll do it 10, 9 and 10. So I'm going to add an extra 2 stitches, so that makes 12, and I'm going to go into the third stitch, and I'm going to do UK treble crochets. One into each of the chains, and I'm going to make a little treble crochet strap. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3 and turn, and then go skip that very first stitch and go into the next stitch. So skip the very first one and go into the next one, and I'm going to make myself a little strap. I'll just continue to do that until the strap is the length that I want it to be for my shoulder. So I've got my strap done. I made it to the length that I want mine to be. You do the same. You don't need to do it as thick as me. You can do it thinner. You can even do it wider. And up the sides, I just put 2 UK double crochets, that's USA single crochets, into the side, the little posts on each row of stitches. I put 2 in, 2, 2, 2, all the way down, just put 2 in around the posts. Now and I've left myself some tails so that I can stitch it onto my bag. Now what you can do if you want to turn this into a backpack, you can make your strap bigger, and then what you can do is you can attach it to the bottom of the bag here and the bottom at this side, and this part in the middle you can just scrunch in and sew up here to the top, and that'll give you like backpack straps. You can sew this one, just fold it in half, sew it to the top up here, so this one down to this bottom, and this side of your strap to there, and that'll give you the loops for a backpack. A really easy way to do that. But I want my strap as a shoulder one and just around like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tease open my bag like this, and I'm going to stitch my strap just down on this row below where I've got my cord. I have ordered those bobble things to put on your cord. I've ordered a bigger spring bobble off of Amazon. I just put in spring toggles. So I'm going to take my strap and I'm just going to sew both sides onto my bag. Just put it, that's going to go down there. I'm going to put it across on this one below there. Just stitch it in to these stitches along the bottom. I just made mine into a bag to go over your shoulder. So thank you very much for watching. Now do remember that how I made the base and the bag is the same way. It's the same part of the video. It was the same part of the video when I made this one, and that's why the video, the yarn looks different. And this one is already on my channel. And that is just a little drawstring bag. And this is how you do this little shoulder bag. I'll put some stuff in it and I'll take some pictures and I'll upload it and show you the pictures as well. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and please click on the bell icon, and YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, happy bag making as well. Make it any size, by the way. Just make the circle as big or as small as you like. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.